After Secret Service Barbie, a highly trained member of the Secret Service, removes her weapon from its holster for the very first time in her career. She struggles to return her pea shooter as though it's her first day on the job. Fortuitously, her skills from a previous life as an amateur actress come into play, allowing her to convincingly mimic the swift draw of the weapon and scan the horizon for threats. Chewing her gum nonchalantly, she attempts to exude a tactical demeanor, reminiscent of a fusion between the Blues Brothers and Rosie O'Donnell. Despite her efforts, our agent's attempt to return her wireless hole punch to its home results in another failure. While she may have faltered at this most basic of tasks, she certainly looked cool while doing it.
Oh, God.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever this video finds you. Welcome to Villainous News. I'm your host, Embrace Villainy, along with Louis Conyer.
The red
How you
pill
doing there?
sleeper cell.
How you doing there, my brother?
Hot as hell. That's what I'm doing.
Not as hot as the head of the Secret Service.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Oh, my goodness, because there have been some revelations that have come to light.
And
Because,
this is part 2 from yesterday.
yes, the fallout, as we so appropriately name this. Let's get started, shall we? There's a lot to cover. So this comes to us from the New York Times, where videos show Secret Service snipers were focused toward gunmen at Trump rally. 3 videos posted to social media show that sniper teams were facing in the direction of the shooter before he fired at former President Donald J. Trump. Now, of course, we're familiar with this. We're familiar with the people telling him or telling the Secret Service members that there was a guy on the roof, and everything that's going to come forward for this is going to really tick you off. It doesn't matter, and I'm going to say this right now, because I see a lot of foolishness where people are saying that they wish that the sniper didn't the sniper didn't miss Trump or whatnot. Like, you were not prepared for the fallout that would have happened had he have been killed. You really are not. You are not prepared. You are literally not prepared. And I'm not the only one that thinks so.
We're unprepared in so many ways that it sometimes is comical but sad. And just imagine how COVID affected us. And also imagine if January 6th commenced on every hood in every urban town USA.
Only with guns in hand.
Not tiki torches, but guns.
But you know what? I'm going to I'll deal with that on my Embrace Villainy channel. I know I haven't posted on there for a while because, you know, I needed to take a mental health break from all of that, everything that I was talking about. But look, you are not, I'll deal with it there. Try to keep it cool, calm, and collected over here. 3 videos posted on social media show that Secret Service snipers were orienting themselves toward the gunman at the Trump rally just under 2 minutes before shots were fired. The first of the videos, taken by a rally attendee 6 minutes before shots were fired at former President Donald Trump, shows a Secret Service sniper and spotter behind the podium facing north in the direction of the eventual shooter. The spotter is looking down toward Mr. Trump President Trump, as he starts his speech. You know, you got to give the man his credits. Of course, we can get that video to play here. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let me mute it just in case there is any issues with the sound. Of course, you see the sniper team facing towards the gunman, which we all know. In the later video, which starts 1 minute and 58 seconds before shots were fired, the Secret Service team looks in the direction of the gunman through binoculars and a sniper scope. The rally attendee taking the video is heard saying, "Uh-oh, something's going on." At the same time as the video was taken, another clip shared on Facebook shows attendees near the building where the gunman was positioned, pointing law enforcement to someone on the roof. A third video shows that 1 minute and 35 seconds before the shooting, while the Secret Service team's attention is still focused toward the gunman, a second sniper team, positioned further south, turns from facing south to north toward the gunman. The short clip shows them turn with their weapons and crouch, and then it ends. Later, as shots were fired, this second Secret Service team is seen in another video in the same position facing the gunman. This is over here. A handful of rally attendees in the bleachers behind Mr. Trump are looking in the direction of the gunman and Secret Service snipers, with one man pointing toward them while talking to a person next to him. Secret Service spokesman Anthony Gigliotti has said that local police... Thank you. Guglielmi has said that local police officers radioed agents about a possible suspicious person before Mr. Trump came on stage. It's unclear if the sniper teams were alerted. It doesn't matter. You should have shut it down. And then something big dropped. Because do understand that this kid had been... What's going on, Sick Diggy? This kid had been training. He bought ammo 6 months prior, which is fine. You can buy ammo. You can even buy the gun. And you can even train with it. But at the point of him crawling on the roof, that's when we had the issue. But come to find out that he was possibly not acting alone, as reported by Politico. U.S. officials have gathered increasing amount of intel about Iran plotting to assassinate Trump. Here he is at the RNC with the bandage.
Milking it for everything he can. Good PR.
I just work here. The U.S. intelligence community has received an increasing amount of evidence to suggest that Iran is actively working on plots to kill former President Donald Trump, potentially in the lead up to the election in November. Now, why would they be trying to do that when he's trying to possibly end the war, even though he is in favor of Israel? Two senior U.S. officials familiar with the intelligence said the Biden administration has gathered information from various sources, including human sources, on the threats from Tehran that are linked to physical acts of violence, acts that could kill Trump, they said, without providing further details. Oh, okay, here we go. Iran has for years considered a plan to get back at Trump for his killing of top Iranian general Qasem Soleimani. Did I say that right?
Soleimani.
Yeah, thank you. Soleimani in 2020. But the officials said the intelligence has ratcheted up in recent months and officials have become more confident in Tehran's intentions. They also said there may be more attempts on Trump's life in the coming weeks. Both officials were granted anonymity to speak about sensitive intelligence. CNN previously reported that the U.S. received intelligence about an Iranian plot to assassinate Trump before Thomas Matthew Crooks, 20, tried to kill the former president at his rally in Pennsylvania Saturday. The two officials stressed to Politico that there was no evidence Saturday's shooting had a connection to Iran. Then why is this an article? Why is this an article then? The Office for the Director of National Intelligence declined to comment. The Trump campaign did not immediately respond to a request for comment. We have repeatedly and consistently briefed the public and Congress on the existence of these threats. We have repeatedly met at the highest levels of our government to develop and implement a comprehensive response to these threats, said NSC spokesperson Adrian Watson. We have invested extraordinary resources in developing additional information about these threats, disrupting individuals involved in these threats, and directly warning Iran. Then how did he wind up getting shot? Was his request I know they say more Secret Service, but really he wanted replacements for those two face-stuffing fat women, the midgets, protecting him. He was inadequately protected, as we saw.
What I heard yesterday was that Trump's original detail members were removed from his detail and others were added. I don't know how true that was, but I'm just added that in. That's what I heard from numerous outlets that I was watching yesterday and today.
So they replaced his detail with an even worse detail. Let's give him these two affirmative. Can't even say affirmative. These DEI hires. These two 5'2" fat chicks, incompetent fat chicks. Were one when the gunshots were going off, when the men jumped to protect him, she's ducking for cover. Let's replace him with these people. Iran has traditionally posed threats to U.S. elections, primarily through online misinformation and influence campaigns. U.S. officials have, over the years, warned against Tehran's attempts to influence American elections and taken action to punish those responsible. On July 9th, Director of National Intelligence Avril Haines made a rare public statement pointing out Iran's involvement in U.S. protests related to Gaza. Well, of course. Iranian government actors have sought to opportunistically take advantage of ongoing protests regarding the war in Gaza, using a playbook we've seen other actors use over the years, Haines said. We have observed actors tied to Iran's government posing as activists online, seeking to encourage protests and even providing financial support to protesters. While officials have long tracked Iran's anger following the Soleimani strike, physical threats of violence emanating from Tehran, those that can be corroborated and verified, are somewhat unusual. You know what that tells me? That tells me that what we've been facing with these protests, and it goes back to exactly what I thought. You have Iranian insurgents here on U.S. soil, waiting for their moment. Or
it could be something more devious. It could be it could either be a legitimate threat, or it could be a man-made threat, and it could be used as an excuse. So if the actual assassination went through, you could blame it on Iran, and then you could expand the war even more.
Oh my God. And you know what?
The rabbit hole goes very deep.
Yeah, I don't put it past the U.S. government. One of the officials said it was clear from the intelligence the U.S. has gathered that Iran is actively plotting, and the administration was working to try to thwart such attacks. Still, Iranian operatives remain a concern for intelligence and national security officials, many of whom are part of organizations such as Hezbollah that have the capability to carry out large-scale attacks on Americans.
What's up, Jibba Jabba, and what's up, Chaos Rain?
Oh, what's going on, fellas? Whew. So, ABC, of course, they sat down with the Secret Service director.
How convenient.
ABC exclusive. Trump rally shooting unacceptable, Secret Service director says. In her first
Pepsi vending machine,
it's probably in the back. In her first network interview since the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump, U.S. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle said that the Pennsylvania rally shooting was unacceptable. Why? Because he missed. It was unacceptable, she said in an interview Monday with ABC News Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas, and it's something that shouldn't happen again. The violent incident on Saturday, which left one rally-goer dead, marked the first time a current or former president has been wounded in an attempted assassination since Ronald Reagan in 1981. You know why? Because they beefed up security. And then she came in and destroyed it. When she first learned of the shooting, Cheadle said she was shocked and concerned, both for Trump and for the Secret Service agents who responded to the incident. What about the man who was killed protecting his family? It was obviously a situation that, as a Secret Service agent, no one ever wants to occur in their career, she said. Well, this is why you put in adequate protections. As the head of the agency, Cheadle said it's her responsibility to investigate what went wrong and make sure nothing like it can happen again. He was inadequately protected. The buck stops with me, she said. I am the director of the Secret Service, and I need to make sure that we are performing a review and that we are giving resources to our personnel as necessary. You should be fired.
I bet you that statement was given to her to say.
Of course it was. She should be fired immediately.
And I think she should and leave the fucking country. Because I could guarantee you, when this man gets into office, and me and you was talking about this over the phone, without this happening, you know, Donald Trump was going to get into office because Biden is just totally weak. You see him on the media fumbling, pooping his pants and everything. But now with him, somebody's trying to take his life. This has the potential, and I have to look it up. And if anybody out there in the chat, can you look this up for me? I want to know what Democratic governors are up for re-election and what Democrat senators and congressmen seats are up, because you might see a big red tidal wave that come upon in November. And if the Republicans get both the Senate and the House, you could see a major witch hunt on everyone that was in the Biden administration. Everything they did for the past 4 years, going on with the us leaving Afghanistan, I could see them putting the current Secretary of Defense, having a hearing with him, her, the Secret Service chief, everybody. They just gonna go on a massive witch hunt on everybody. I can see it happen. Lloyd Austin, that's his name. He's Secretary of Defense.
I've been watching periodically some of the Biden nominees for Supreme Court replacements or alternates, and these people, women, of course, flat out liars and morons. Senator Kennedy and I forget the young guy's name.
Bob Casey and PA.
Okay, is that him? No, not him. Wait, hold on.
He's senator.
Hold on, let me see here. Judiciary House Committee. Okay. Let's see here. Because these guys are not playing with these people. Okay, let's see. Okay, not Jeffries. Oh, okay, here, the committee. All right, let's see. Can you get these people's faces? Hold on. Anyway, let me get to reading this. Sorry. Cheadle responded to reports that the suspect was seen and identified as potentially suspicious before he opened fire, saying that a very short period of time passed between then and the shooting. I don't know about all the details yet, but it was a very short period of time, she said. Seeking that person out, finding them, identifying them, and eventually neutralizing them took place in a very short period of time, and it makes it very difficult. Yeah, but there was enough time where Trump shouldn't have even went up on stage. It was enough time that the the guy should have been neutralized, even if you didn't kill him, but he should have been taken off of the building before Trump even went up on stage. Cheeto also said that local authorities were tasked with securing the building where the alleged shooter fired the shots before being taken out by a Secret Service sniper, and confirmed that local police were present inside the building while the shooter was on the roof. In this particular instance, we did share support for that particular site and that the Secret Service was responsible for the inner perimeter, Cheeto said. And then we sought assistance from our local counterparts for the outer perimeter. There was local police in that building. There was local police in the area that were responsible for the outer perimeter of the building. Stop passing the buck. For the buck to stop with her, she certainly is passing it, isn't she? Or trying
like
to
a hot potato.
Yeah, or trying to spread it out. Cheeto said she has reached out to Trump, but has not yet spoken with him. I wouldn't want to talk to you either. In the days since the attack, Cheeto and the Secret Service have faced heightening scrutiny for failing to prevent the incident from happening, and even calls from some to resign. Cheeto said she would not resign from her role. Don't worry, you'll be fired. Don't worry about it. She is expected to testify before the GOP-led House Oversight Committee next Monday, July 22nd. Cheeto also said there were not any snipers on the roof that were used by the shooter because it was sloped. But yet the shooter was on the roof though. Was he not on the roof?
Yep, he was.
So why wasn't they on the roof? You couldn't put a man on that roof?
Well, like the video we saw yesterday, was logical. Like, why didn't they secure everything that was in line of sight of the president? All structures should have been secured. That's protocol.
Yeah, basic protocol. That's basic. It's just like opening a door. It's that basic.
It's either it was intentional, which is devious, or it was total incompetence, which is utterly scary.
It's either incompetence or setup. Take your pick. At that site itself, there were actually a number of buildings in the outer perimeter. I know that we're all focused on this one particular building because of what took place there. But there are a number of buildings in that outlying area, Cheeto explained. Yeah, and you had snipers on those roofs of those buildings, except for that one, where everybody was telling you, hey, there's a guy up there with a rifle on the roof. That building in particular has a slope roof at its highest point. And so there's a safety factor that would be considered there that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof. And so the decision was made to secure the building from inside, she said.
I'm going with the fact, I think it's a little bit of both. They know the ineptitude of probably a lot of people there, and it was the perfect opportunity to try to take this man out.
Her excuses are pathetic. That's like
What's up, AP? What's going on?
Oh, what's going on? All right. Let's see. The excuse that she gave is the same type of excuse. Like, let's say like your dishwasher is broken. So you have your kids hand wash the dishes. So then you look at the plates and the plates have stuck on food on them. And you say, why the plates got food, eggs and stuff stuck to them? Well, I used the dish rag, but it didn't wash it off all the way. And then you look and you grab the Brillo pad for just such a situation, and you hold it up and you look at your kid dead in the eye without saying anything. And then they look at you like, you know what I'm saying? That stupid look on their face, because they know that they did a piss poor job and they did it intentionally, hoping that you wouldn't notice. That's what her excuse for that sounds like.
Look at your back chat, Bitter.
Oh, okay. All right.
AB, do you want to come up? Because I know you've been following this Trump thing too.
Here, there's the open link. Good Lord, because it's sloped. Still, she said, the American people should have confidence in the Secret Service's ability to protect the president and former president. Well, we know we don't. We don't. We don't have enough. We don't even trust you to protect the vending machines that you used to protect at your last job. In the aftermath of the assassination attempt, she immediately started looking at the protective details of those under Secret Service protection. She said she reached out to the former president's staff and attempted to contact him, but hasn't gotten through. Cheeto also pushed back on the misinformation surrounding the assassination attempt. And what would that be? Secret Service is not political, she said. Security is not political. People's safety is not political. And that's what we're focused on as an agency. Then why in the Christmas cookies do you have fat, old midget women protecting a president that's almost double? I mean, he dwarfs these women. Why are they protecting him? Why are they protecting him? You said you personally said that you wanted to make 30%, at least 30% of the Secret Service women. For what? To do what? Paperwork?
I can see you having the women protect like the children or something like that, but a man that is 6'2", over 250 pounds.
I would not want a female Secret Service agent, especially one that looked like, she's a face stuffer and couldn't run 20 yards without, huffing and puffing and needing to take a break and some water. I would not want them protecting me at all. Especially if you're so bumbling, you can't even put your gun in your holster.
AB, you still there?
Why in the Christmas? I'm trying not to curse. Trying not to curse, Trust. I'm trying not to curse. This isn't the curse show. As she reiterated, as other officials have said, there is no truth to the rumors the former president's detail asked for more resources. That's a lie. That's a lie. Yes, he did. He asked for more agents. Actually, he wanted different agents. The decision to take out the shooter, she said, was a split-second decision the agent made while perched on the roof. Yet he waited till the guys squeezed off about 6-7 shots before they took him out. They have the ability to make that decision on their own. If they see that it's a threat, and they did that in that instance, she said, after he squeezed off 6-7 shots. And I applaud the fact that they made that decision and they didn't have to check with anybody and thankfully neutralized the threat. Yeah, but at the expense of almost losing a former president, now presidential candidate. Good Lord, man. Trump's 300 pounds. How is she going to fireman's carry him? She's not. She's not. Right. She can't even jump on him to protect him. What's she gonna do? Protect him below his rib cage? The hell! All right, you ready?
Yeah. Oh, give me 1 second.
Go ahead.
My computer's acting up.
All right, because I swear to God, reading this stuff makes my blood boil because she's a liar and she's incompetent.
All right, I'm about to play.
Go ahead.
And I like to work with my hands. I watch True News, and it's apparent to me that we are in World War III, and the U.S. is very unstable. I have faith in God, but He expects us to use our brains and our hands to prepare for troubled times. There are two things we need: food, and water. That's why I buy my supplies from AmericanReserves.com.
Appearance last. An emotional, teary-eyed President Donald Trump made a dramatic appearance last night at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, alongside his vice presidential running mate, Senator J.D. Vance. I'm Rick Wiles. This is True News for Tuesday, July 16, 2024. Most of our discussion today will be on what is obviously a massive cover-up of the attempted assassination of President Donald Trump on Saturday. There is no other way to view it than that was an attempted assassination, and there is now a cover-up underway. And I'm going to be very blunt about it. I don't care what people say. They can accuse me. I've already seen the Jerusalem Post today accusing me of being a conspiracy theorist. Okay? Call me what you want to call me. But my eyes are wide open, okay? And I'm not deceived. I know what I saw, and I know what I've been watching for days, and it is a cover-up. So before we get into the discussion of the cover-up, let's just take a quick look for a few minutes at what happened last night. And I'm not going to spend time talking about the selection of Senator Vance. Congratulations. Hope he does well. Outstanding young man. He'll make a great vice president. So more important things to talk about. The deep state tried to kill the ex-president of the United States. That's what everybody ought to be talking about. There's nothing else to talk about. They tried to kill Donald Trump. But let's do the pleasantries. Let's take a look at the nice things that happened last night. And we'll take a look at, well, first of all, notice the security team around President Trump last night. Let's look at this video. This is Mr. Trump entering the Republican convention. Notice anything different? Hey, they're all tall, muscular men.
Yes.
No short women. How about that?
Yeah, brought the A-team in for this, Rick. So
most of the time, and I
no
suspect,
DEI hires here.
and they probably know how to get their revolver in their holster.
Yes.
And they don't try to catch their sunglasses when they fall off. Okay. And they don't ask, what do we do now? What do we do now? Where do we go? Where do we go? I don't know if you heard that video.
No, I did.
Okay.
So,
well, anyhow, I still, quite frankly, Mr. Trump, I wouldn't trust any of them. I wouldn't trust any of them. I know you're not supposed to say that. I'm running for Congress. I'm not supposed to say that. I don't trust
why
them.
aren't you supposed to say it? If it's your opinion, if
It's my opinion.
and
I
it's
know
based
what I
on
saw
nearly
Saturday.
30 years of covering
Yes,
news.
I know
items.
what I saw Saturday. They allowed a man to shoot the president of the United States, the former president. They allowed it to happen. Yeah. I'm not going to pretend like this didn't happen. It did happen. And we've been predicting it for a long time. Eventually, they're going to try to kill him.
That's their only option.
It's the only option. We have another video. This is Mr. Trump making his entrance last night with the roar of the crowd. Let's watch.
The next president of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
If tomorrow all the things were wrong, I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again. Just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I.
Hey, Bay. Hey, Bitter. Bitter. Well, you got your
Yeah,
mic on
my
mute?
mic was. I got my mic. I was muted.
Yo, you see how every Secret Service member is his height or taller?
As they should have been from the start.
Yeah.
I know I'm free. Don't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand
I had some idiot.
next to you and defend her still today.
Turn the volume down on that right
'Cause
quick.
there ain't no doubt I love this land. Sing it. God.
I had some guy. It was on Dr. Umar's page talking about some. He got shot in the right ear, but the blood is on the left side. And I'm like, man, this guy's a joke.
I watched the beginning of, I watched his entrance. And so you saw the range of emotions that Donald Trump, it was different Donald Trump.
It was. He was
last
very
night.
different.
So,
I would not have missed this last night, folks. This is history in the making.
no matter what you think about Donald
No matter
Trump.
what you think, things like this don't happen often in your lifetime. You just witnessed an attempted assassination. Last time that's happened is 1981. Before that, 1963. Okay. Donald Trump was visibly emotional last night. You could tell the man was ready to weep. He was ready to cry. He was holding back tears.
That's probably one of the best shots there. I mean, you could see the emotion on his face right there.
Doc, think
So,
about what this man has been through. It's not just
in 48 hours.
not just the 48 hours. How about since the time he went into the White House in 2017, the battles, the lies, the persecution, the prosecution. I mean, the man has been through an enormous gamut of attacks. The deep state has come against him to destroy him. They tried to paint him as a Russian stooge. I mean, I've lost track of the lies that they've told about this man.
Then the lawsuits.
Then they tried to get him off the ballots. All right. They wanted to put him in prison. He was supposed to go to prison on July 11. That didn't work. They shot him Saturday. That didn't work. This man walked out there,
Yeah.
Doc, and he's realizing that the hand of God is on his life.
Yes, he was supposed to go to jail July 11th, right?
Yes.
And then got shot July 13th.
Yes.
Something to think about there.
You think that's a coincidence?
No, I don't believe in coincidence, Rick. You know that.
It's not a coincidence at all. They wanted to kill him. They were supposed to put him in prison on the 11th. He got out of it. So they shot him. We can't allow this evil, wicked entity to remain in the country. What is it? How do you describe an invisible crime syndicate? That's what it is.
Yeah, if you try to describe it, you'll sound crazy.
But it's there. You don't think it's there? We'll try to change the country. It will show its presence. But I'm thinking about Donald Trump. The emotions that were running through that man last night, through his mind, his heart, the battles that he's been through, that he almost died Saturday.
Yes.
And now he wasn't even supposed to be at the convention. Weeks ago, they were making plans for him to accept the nomination from inside a prison.
Yes. But here he is.
And you have to believe that this man, that there's there's a spiritual transformation taking place in this man. He didn't even, his countenance looked different last night. He didn't look like the cocky, I'll punch you in the face Donald Trump. He looked softer.
Yes, that's probably the best way to describe it.
He looked more gentle. God is working in this man's life.
And not only was the emotion there, the tears and everything, but there was also a little bit of laughter too, Rick. I don't know if you saw this particular clip. One of the chaplains for the RNC had the opportunity to give, there were several benedictions. They did a multi-faith benediction, but this is Father Jim Remke. He is a Lutheran pastor, and this was actually a kind of a great way to kind of break the tension a little bit. So let's watch this.
It's a great pleasure to be here. Great pleasure to see President Donald Trump safe. And if I may, before the benediction, give you this promise. You're going to be so blessed. You're going to be tired of being blessed. I guarantee it.
I didn't see that.
You didn't see that?
No,
well,
I
that was
didn't.
great. I was cracking up watching that, and to see the smile on Donald Trump's face. I mean, I've never seen Donald Trump smile that big before. You know, he's normally,
Yes.
you know, I mean, he'll occasionally smile, but not like this.
That's right.
The
He's
big
a different
grin.
man. He's a different man. He almost died. He almost died. And he knows it. You know what? I'm going to skip over this stuff we have about President Biden.
Yeah, they
I
were
really don't
trying
care.
to counter program the RNC.
I
and
honestly don't care what Joe Biden has to say to Lester Holt.
other than it, he was constantly on the defensive with Lester Holt all throughout the interview. And so Rick, I still think they're going to
Well, yeah,
take him out. So
Well, no, it was
no, I don't.
they're going
I mean,
to push him out.
push him out.
Push
So,
him out of the race. That's what you mean, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I want to make sure we got to watch our words. But let's skip down. I want to get into the cover up of the assassination. And again, I make no apologies. This is an ongoing cover up of an attempted assassination of a former president, the leading candidate for president.
Just want to make a disclaimer. I should have said this before I played the video. This is True News. Shout out to True News. Here we're not pushing no religious agenda, anything. But what me and Bay realize about this program, they do show a lot of insightful information that you do not see on mainstream media. So those that have probably left the stream or those who are watching, we're not pushing no religious agenda. And what's the word? Fair use, fair use.
President of the United States. There's so many people on record in the past, 8 years saying he needs to be killed?
yes.
I mean, what do you need?
Well, even just a week ago, Joe Biden said we need to put a target on him.
And that came a week after the Supreme Court said presidents have immunity and can do anything and not be prosecuted.
Right.
And in the court arguments, the case was made that included assassination of opponents. Well, let's take a look at the Washington Post. Police were warned of Trump rally shooter at least 86 seconds before gunfire. Now, you know, Doc, on Saturday, if you said this, you were a conspiracy theorist.
Yes.
But on Tuesday, the Washington Post is a respected newspaper.
This is their headline.
Okay. But we're going to go along because they've got some information in here. And I want you to hear what the Washington Post is reporting. Almost immediately after the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump at his campaign rally in Western Pennsylvania Saturday, some in the crowd told reporters that they had tried to alert law enforcement that a suspicious man was on a nearby roof. Now, this is yesterday's Washington Post. We all knew this Saturday afternoon.
Yes.
But we didn't get it from the news media. We got it from social media. You didn't get it from anybody in the news media. Well, unless you were in London.
Right. Unless
you could watch it on
Daily
Sky
Mail
News or something.
BBC, yes.
Or the BBC was reporting it. Well, anyhow, let's get back to this. Now, a newly surfaced video backs up those accounts of warnings, showing a chaotic scene in which bystanders started calling out to police nearly a minute and a half before the shots rang out. You know what's happening here, Doc? The assassination didn't work, and there are too many witnesses of what was happening.
Right.
And so now the establishment has got to work their way through painting another narrative where they partially admit certain things and then slip in the lies and the deception and the misinformation. That's the way this is the way propaganda works. If you get caught at a crime, then you have to come up with new lies
Yes.
to cover the crime that you got caught at. Okay. The footage posted to social media late Sunday shows, and we were watching it Saturday,
Yes.
shows several witnesses yelling and directing at least one police officer toward the roof of a neighboring business. Authorities say the 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks shot at Trump and attendees from the roof before he was killed by law enforcement. Okay,
So,
let's go into the next one.
well, it goes on to say in the new video, one man shouts, "Officer, officer," as others point toward the building. He's on the roof, a woman says. The video also shows a police officer in a black uniform looking up toward the top of the building. Now, growing evidence that law enforcement were made aware of Crooks before he opened fire has put the Secret Service under pressure to explain exactly what analysts have described as a major security failure. After Crooks fired on the rally, President Trump was wounded. 2 members of the audience were injured. 1 was dead. The Secret Service did not immediately respond to a request for comment. This is coming from the Washington Post. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle sent a memo to her agents Sunday praising their fast efforts to move President Trump to safety after shots were fired.
She needs to resign.
I agree.
More than resign, she ought to be detained. I'm serious, Doc.
Didn't I say they should
Letting
probably
her
find
resign is getting
Yeah.
lazy.
They need to find some way to
She ought to
charge
be
her
detained somewhere
dereliction of duty,
and
something.
questioned. Let me go back to what they said. A police officer, law enforcement officers, witnesses were pointing to an officer, telling the officer, "Look, there's a man on the roof."
Right.
Okay. What did he do? There are only 2 things you could do at that time. You shoot the man on the roof, or you immediately contact somebody with authority and say, "Get the president off the stage."
Right.
There's a shooter on the roof. Why? Why did the officer not do one of those 2 things?
And let's assume he did attempt. Let's say he attempted it. Okay.
Attempted
I don't
what?
know. Attempted to communicate to a superior. Hey, we've got somebody on the roof.
Who got,
what's
the,
an-
who got,
got
the
that
message?
message?
Who got the message? Let's hear it. Don't you think all this is recorded?
It better be.
You know it's recorded. Let's hear it. Who got the message? I want to hear the message went out from the officer and who received it. And then what happened? But I would think my first instinct would be, I'm going to shoot the guy on the roof. There's a man laying on the roof with a rifle, and the president is over here talking. I bet he's planning to shoot him. That's how I would think, Doc. I'm probably going to take my gun and shoot this guy on the roof. I might get in trouble for it if he's just somebody up there eating a sandwich. Maybe it's a long hoagie that looks like a rifle. Does Wawa have hoagies now? You know, this shaped like a rifle? Maybe that's what he was doing. He was eating a long hoagie on the roof, watching President Trump. You know, better be careful. I'll just call Secret Service and say, there's a guy up there, could be a hoagie, could be a rifle. I don't know. I don't want to shoot him if he's eating a hoagie. Come on, where are people's minds?
But here's
the
what,
guy got a rifle aimed at the former president of the United States.
but then here's where it really gets interesting, because there's a time delay that takes place here in the story. It says here in the Washington Post, it says this: Crooks began firing 2 minutes and 2 seconds after the starting point of the newly published video, which begins with a man's voice saying that people were pointing toward the roof, according to a Washington Post analysis of footage from the event. The shots began 86 seconds after the first audible attempts to alert police, according to the analysis, which synchronized several clips based on the sound of Trump's voice over the public address system. It goes on to say that the new video supports previously reported statements from other witnesses who said in interviews with the Washington Post and other media that they warned police that a man had climbed onto the roof of the business, AGR International, which makes industrial equipment.
All right, let's just stop there. Let's go back to
2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Let's go back to 1963. Dealey Plaza. People on the green, on the grassy knoll,
Yes.
pointing, telling Secret Service, "Hey, there's a man up there in the book building,
In the book depository.
and he's got the window open. He's got a long rifle sticking out, and he's looking through a scope at President Kennedy." And 2 minutes go by. What would be the conclusion after that assassination?
That there was a purposeful delay
Yes.
in
That they
events.
allowed him to take the shots.
Right.
There would be no other conclusion you could come to. Either they're the most idiotic people who have ever put on a uniform, or they deliberately allowed him to take the shots.
And I'm not sure which is scarier.
I know.
Which one of those two scenarios is scarier? Now, the AGR building was not inside the secure area guarded by the Secret Service. Another excuse that's been made.
We just stop right there. It's just on. You just walk over to it.
Right.
Okay. Nobody in the Secret Service said, "Well, that building over there, that's outside of the security perimeter.
So we don't have to worry about
We don't have
that.
to worry about it."
And
Every sniper knows the distance that they can shoot. But the Secret Service didn't think about it, and nobody was trained, nobody was instructed to watch that building.
Yeah, there's just too much with this. As we were saying, they, everything in the rally, everybody had to go through a metal detector before entering. Secret Service officers monitored the event inside the secure area. Police officers from local township and county departments were assigned to secure the outer perimeter of the post, as reported.
But again, the Secret Service didn't pay attention to the building.
Right, and they should have been supervising the local police as well, saying, "Hey, we've been doing this a long time. We need to."
I'm sorry, Doc.
I'm not making excuses for them at all.
The Secret Service was in charge of the entire operation.
Oh, no, I agree. They should have been directing everything.
They can't say, "Well, that building over there, we've turned it over to the county." Do you think when Joe Biden goes into a city that the Secret Service says to a township, "Now, this building over here is going to be supervised by the township police officer"? No, they're in charge of the entire area. Any place that's within range of a sniper.
Yes.
You're not going to convince me that they said, "Well, we only have this little perimeter. That's our jurisdiction." No. The man was allowed to shoot the president. He was allowed. Look, when you look at all this stuff, there's only two conclusions you can come to: massive incompetence or complicity. Which one do you want? If it's massive incompetence, the Secret Service director needs to resign immediately, like 5 minutes ago. If it's complicity, she needs to be detained and questioned. Which one is it? Why isn't there any uproar about this? I listened to this garbage on television news, driving, I use Sirius XM, and I'm listening to the audio. And you get these talking heads talking about, well, there's going to be and I'm sure in the months to come, there's going to be various investigations of how this happened and where we can learn from our mistakes and make sure that something like this does. You know what I want to say? Tried to kill the president. And we know it. We know it.
And the American
And
people
when I
know
say
it.
we know it, I'm talking about the American people. We, the American people, know it. You tried to kill the president. Okay. You're not going to fool us. Let's go on with this. This Washington Post got a lot of information in it.
Right. So Ben Macer, who was watching the event from just outside the security perimeter, told Washington Post that he reported to a police officer twice in the span of 2 minutes that he had seen a suspicious-looking man on the building roof. Macer, who confirmed that he is visible in the newly surfaced video clip, said he first warned the officer an estimated 30 seconds before the time period captured in the video. The police officer didn't say anything to Macer in response to either alert, he said. On the first occasion, when Macer saw the man on the roof moving forward in a crouched position, the officer looked in the direction of the building, according to Macer.
The officer didn't say anything. Who's the officer?
Right.
Federal?
Who is that?
Federal, state, local. We want to know.
Right.
Who was the officer?
Now, on the
Why was he silent?
Yes.
Why? Why didn't he react? Doc, if you were a police officer and the president of the United States, former president speaking, and somebody says, hey, officer, look up there on the roof, there's a man with a rifle. What are you going to do?
Well, I would think your first response would be find out, look and confirm what the others are seeing.
And what's your second response?
To report it in and take action.
This guy did nothing. I'm telling you, there were people told to stand down. This is like 9/11. Our military was told to stand down. All military planes were grounded on 9/11.
Yes.
All. Who gave that order? Who ordered the FAA to ground all military planes on 9/11?
Well, I heard it was Dick Cheney that
That's
sent the
who I
order
heard
out,
too. So anyhow, let's get back because that's another story to talk about.
There is also this officer that actually confronted the shooter. Butler County Sheriff Michael Sloop told the Post that one local officer did confront Crooks before the shooting. It was not immediately clear whether that officer was the one seen examining the building in the newly surfaced video footage. According to the Post, the officer hoisted himself up on the roof to check on reports of a suspicious man, but the officer, who was not able to access a gun because he was gripping the edge of the roof, had to drop down when the shooter aimed his weapon at him, the sheriff said. He let go because he didn't want to get killed, Sloop said. The shooter then began firing at the rally site, the sheriff said. An executive at AGR International, which manufactures quality control equipment for the bottle industry, told the Washington Post that the company had worked with local police before the event on security matters. Now listen to that. Police blocked off public access to the company's parking lot, and that space was available for
law enforcement use. The building where the assassin was on the roof was used by law enforcement, and we're going to learn later there were law enforcement officers in the building at the time of the shooting.
That's right, Rick.
The
chief financial officer of AGR said there's no easy way to access AGR's building, the roof. If they were on the roof, they needed a ladder, he said soon after the shooting Saturday. Aerial video footage from after the event showed a ladder propped up against the building that evening. It is not clear when it was placed there.
All right, now, I want you to pay attention to this, okay? So we get two really big things here, okay? The ag building was used by local police, a staging area for training.
Yes.
There were police officers in the building. I don't know yet if they're local or federal. In the building at the time of the shooting. There's an assassin on the roof.
And nobody knows.
Or did they know? But here's the thing I want you to pay attention to. Mr. Bellis said there was no easy way to access the roof of the building. If they were on the roof, they need a ladder. Aerial video footage from after the event showed a ladder propped up against the building that night. It's not clear when it was placed there. Was it there at the time of the shooting? here's where I'm going with this. On Saturday, I remember I heard this in real time watching stuff, okay? And I heard someone say, and I don't know which network I was watching at the time, but I heard one of the eyewitnesses say, I saw the man jumping from roof to roof.
Yeah, and when you told me this yesterday, that was the first I'd heard about that.
I heard it. I know I heard it. Okay, so I kept searching for this. I had to go to India to get the news article. India, not the United States. I had to go to India to get the news article. Here's the Economic Times of India. Witness claims to have seen shooter moving from roof to roof. How come this isn't being talked about?
Because
what is he, Spider-Man? Was it Spider-Man jumping from roof to roof? Who operates
carrying a long rifle?
Who is trained to move from roof to roof carrying a long rifle? Who? That little scrawny sissy boy? You think he jumped from roof to roof? I don't, Doc.
Well, according to two witnesses at Donald Trump's rally on Saturday in Pennsylvania, where he was attacked, claimed to have seen the shooter, with one recalling how the gunman moved from roof to roof, apparently scouting for a perfect perch to shoot at the former president. And according to an attendee named Ben Macer, he was up along the fence line and saw the guy move from roof to roof, CBS News reported. Macer further said he told an officer that the shooter was on the roof approximately 200 to 250 yards away from where President Trump was addressing his supporters. Butler resident Ryan Knight, another witness along the fence line, also said he saw the suspected shooter atop the American Glass Research Building. I walked over about 20 minutes before the shooting happened to stand along the fence line where President Trump was. As I was doing that, I was right beside the AGR building, which had the shooter on it, Knight said. Now, we have video, and this is from Sky News because no one else reports it, where they interview Ben Macer about what he saw that particular day. And then we'll follow up with video of Ryan Knight as well. Mm-hmm. So here is Ben Macer and his recollection of what happened.
I was up at the fence line, saw the guy move from roof to roof, told an officer that he was on the roof. The officer come looking. I went back to where I was standing, heard that there was somebody that could see the person. So I went back to where they were standing, saw the person, went back and told the officer again that if he goes back to that particular spot, he can see the person, figuring that he would go on radio. And when I turned around to go back to where I was is when the gunshots started, and then it was just chaos and we all came running away, and that was that.
So let me get this right. So you actually saw the man on top of the roof behind us?
Yes.
And you're saying people reported that to law enforcement, saying there's a man on the roof of the building?
Yes, there were two officers that were actively searching. You could tell they were searching and looking for somebody, and we just tried to help and tell them where the guy was. And they, at some point, somebody obviously found him, or the snipers found him, and I just seen him going from one building to another. There was a little gap in between, and he went. And when I went back to see the people that I heard that could see him, seen a quick look at him there, and then went to the officer to tell the officer, and that was all that I got.
How many gunshots did you hear?
I have no idea. It was, at first I didn't know what I heard, and then once it became clear what I heard, that it was just getting out of there, and I helped a lady that had a 4-year-old kid, helped them get out, and that was it. We were done, and everybody went home. And
you're obviously shaken up right now just talking to me.
A little bit. It's not every day that you're that close to anything like that.
How far do you think that shooter was from the stage of where the former president was speaking?
Probably 200, 250 yards.
Was it parallel to where the president was, where he was?
I could not see the president, so I'm not 100% sure, but it was definitely close.
All right, so this man, Mr. Macer, he's telling Sky News in London that he sees a man leaping from roof to roof.
Right.
But the Secret Service counter snipers on rooftops paid to protect President Trump. That's the only job they got. The only job
one
a
job
counter sniper has is to shoot a sniper.
Yes.
Right? A counter sniper shoots snipers.
And by the
Right.
way, they had 2 separate sniper
Yes.
outposts
2
there at the rally.
Right.
2 separate ones.
So were there 2 on each one?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there were 4?
Yeah,
Four
the
counter
spotter.
snipers. So
Yeah, the spotter
4
and then the
counter
sniper.
snipers on rooftops didn't see a flying Spider-Man. Did he have
With
his
a
cape
rifle.
on? I mean,
With a rifle.
what in the world are we talking about here? 4 counter snipers did not see Spider-Man leaping from roof to roof carrying a rifle? Seriously? I get
know.
frustrated that we have to ask these questions.
I feel them.
Why are you?
Yeah.
I know what they're doing. Because the truth is so obvious that it hurts your brain to think
Yes.
that somebody is denying the truth. That's what's going on. The wall of lies and propaganda and misinformation and deception is so thick, it hurts your brain to ask the questions that should not even be asked. The 4 counter snipers on rooftops assigned to shoot snipers didn't see a flying Spider-Man leaping from building to building less than 400 yards from the former president of the United States.
Oh, less than 400 feet.
400 feet. What were they doing on the rooftop? Were they watching Netflix?
No,
What
they
were
were
they
watching
doing?
him.
Eating a sandwich. Well, I mean, what was going on?
They were
That's
watching
their
him
only job.
crawling
The
on the
only
roof. That's what they were doing.
It's
They were
just look and
watching
see,
him.
This might be the day somebody shows up with a rifle. This could be that day. And when that day came, they didn't do anything. They allowed him to shoot President Trump. They allowed it. Doc, it wasn't like a split second. They allowed it. They allowed him to shoot President Trump. President Trump was supposed to die on that stage. That was the plan. Trump was to go down with no skull.
And we were supposed to watch it.
And we were supposed to watch it and be traumatized the rest of our lives. To say, this is what happens to anybody who challenges the deep state. What do you think Putin is thinking about what's going on in this country right now? You think Putin is wondering, was that a failure of Secret Service? Putin knows what they did. Putin knows that Trump survived an assassination attempt. He knows it. Xi Jinping knows it.
I wonder if they spoke
Every
on
world
it yet.
leader knows that Trump survived an assassination attempt by the American deep state. They all know it. And they know that's what we're dealing with. That's the power that runs America. It will kill a former president in broad daylight on national TV and not care about it. In fact, would like it to happen on national television.
Well,
to
they've
put
done,
the fear,
they've done it before.
to put the fear in everybody. Don't mess with us. All right, so we have another one. Ryan Knight, he also saw Spider-Man jumping from roof to roof. Let's watch this video.
Wow.
20 minutes before the shooting happened to go stand along the fence line where Trump was.
Hold on. Pause that.
All right.
Matter of fact, I can show you exactly what Putin had to say. You want to get on? You want to jump to that?
What was that, Nate?
I said I got exactly what Trump had to say. I mean, Putin had to say. You want to repeat that? All right.
Yeah, play it, and I got this pause. We could go back.
All right. So, Russia accuses Biden administration of creating atmosphere for attack on Trump. This was on the 14th. The Kremlin said on Sunday it did not believe the U.S. administration was responsible for Saturday's assassination attempt on U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump, but accused it of creating an atmosphere that provoked the attack. Trump was shot in the ear during blase, 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 blase. We do not believe that the attempt to eliminate and assassinate Trump was organized by the current authorities, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters. Yeah, because they would have got him. But the atmosphere around candidate Trump provoked what America is confronting today. U.S. President Joe Biden condemned the attack, saying there was no place for that kind of violence in America. Peskov said Russia condemned any violence in the course of the political struggle. His comments echoed those of some of Trump's Republican allies who immediately pinned the blame on Biden. After numerous attempts to remove candidate Trump from the political arena, using first legal tools, the courts, prosecutors, attempts to politically discredit and compromise the candidate, it was obvious to all outside observers that his life was in danger, Peskov said. He added that there were no plans for President Vladimir Putin to call Trump in light of the incident. Putin has said the outcome of the U.S. presidential election is unlikely to change anything for Russia and that Trump's presidency had damaged U.S.-Russian relations. But the Russian leader has taken to public interest in Trump's statements that he can end the Ukraine war, saying he does not know the details but supports the idea of ending the war in principle. World leaders, including Ukrainian President Zelensky, rapidly condemned Saturday's attack, expressing shock, denouncing political violence, and wishing Trump a quick recovery. U.S. Civil War. Peskov and Russia's foreign ministry pointed to previous assassinations of U.S. presidents, highlighting domestic U.S. security failings. Let's see here. Volodin, the Speaker of Russia's lower house of parliament, said American political crisis, deep divisions in society, and Washington's focus on interfering in other nations' affairs were all causes of the attack on Trump. With its years-long policy, the United States has let itself reach literally the brink of civil war, Volodin wrote on Telegram. Volodin also said Trump's position on Ukraine could not be completely ruled out as a reason for the attack. Trump is one of the few Western politicians who has openly spoke about the need to stop sponsoring military action, Volodin said. Russia's foreign ministry used the shooting to urge Washington to stop funding Ukraine's military and concentrate on improving domestic law enforcement instead. Moscow's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022 has brought Russia's ties with the West to their lowest ebb since the height of the Cold War. Asked whether the Trump attack could affect the legitimacy of the United States' upcoming election, Peskov said, "It's not for us to judge. We have not the slightest desire to interfere. This is a U.S. matter." That's what Russia had to say.
And they're watching very closely.
Oh, of course. According to former SWAT. Say plus that. Oh, okay, he's talking about the plus the huge flag waving, denoting the wind direction was against protocol. Yeah, it's insanity. It's insanity. Yeah, you want to get back to this?
Yeah, give me a minute. Second.
I could swear I threw that back up. Where is it? Oh, there we go. Okay.
All right. I had cut off my camera.
All right. How much longer are they going to go? Because we're already an hour and 14 in.
Shouldn't be that long because they be having their a large portion of it is their religious show. My computer been acting up lately. I gotta clean it out.
All right, so we got 5 more things to cover. Oh, sorry.
And then I see his head get split open by the shot from the Secret Service. And
Then what happened?
then once that happened, all the cops started flying over, pushing us out. They pushed me off to the side because I was right there and I was able to see everything. They took my name, my witness report, and everything like that, my cell phone number, just to get in touch with me to go over what happened because there wasn't many eyewitnesses.
How far were you from the stage where the president was
From
speaking?
the actual stage of the president was speaking, probably a good 500 yards. The shooter was about, oh, maybe not even that far, probably 300 yards.
The video didn't have him saying that he saw him jumping, but that's the man who said he saw him leaping. He's quoted in the Washington Post article, or the
Macer is.
No, I thought the other guy. I thought the Economic Times. No, I take that back. He didn't see him. It says
He saw him on the
he
roof.
saw him on the roof. It was only Macer who saw him leaping from roof to roof. But there's still no discussion of it.
Right.
And where did the ladder come from? Did somebody prop a ladder up there later in the night?
Well, they might have needed a ladder to get the body down.
No, that's possible. And where's all the drone footage?
Well, that's
there was no
great
drones,
question.
right? No drones.
Secret Service doesn't own a
They
drone.
don't. Seriously, the Secret Service doesn't own a drone. And I heard one of these stupid interviews where some politician was saying, well, the Secret Service needs to catch up on technology, and the drones would be a good thing to add. We got to get it into the budget for the Secret. Seriously?
Hey,
I find that to be a lie.
Drone.
Right.
Yeah, me too.
And
I find
the
that to be a
FBI
big
couldn't
lie.
crack the phone for days.
That's right. They
They
just
couldn't crack it. Seriously?
They cracked
They
it
know
last night.
They know the number you're going to dial tomorrow. And, the other one was they didn't identify Crook for, I don't know, 12, 14, 18 hours because he didn't have his ID on him. And the FBI said we didn't know who he was.
You know what their excuse
How about
was?
facial recognition?
They traced him back using the serial number on the weapon. That was the excuse. That
Yes, but I on Saturday was watching. Was it Saturday or Sunday? It might have been Sunday. So when they still had not announced who he was, I'm watching videos on social media of the student in the BlackRock ad. I go, well, that's who it is right there. The FBI just needs to call BlackRock and say, who's that kid in your commercial right there? I mean, the FBI lies. Why are we even talking about? They lie. They lie about everything.
Pause that right
they
quick.
Lie about Jeffrey Epstein.
Jibba Jabba said, telecoms record all communication. No warrant is needed during a national crisis. And that's the thing with the NSA. Like all this Tiffany Henyard stuff where they're trying to use these little burner phones and whatnot. Like they're so stupid. It's like they paid no attention to what Snowden was telling them. Like it doesn't matter how many burner phones you buy.
They have your algorithm of your voice recorded.
Not only that, but all data is stored.
Yeah.
By the NSA.
And the thing is, and how deep it goes, like if me and you are conversing on the phone, they have our voice pattern recorded because it's like a fingerprint. It's your signature. So anytime you get on the waves, because everything goes through the NSA, it can identify who you are instantly.
Shoot. Not only that, what was the other thing that they had? They have access to. Okay, burner, your bank accounts, all of your bank accounts that you've opened, closed, whatnot, because you have to use your social security number to put that down. Shoot, it was something else that they had that they have immediate. Oh, the facial recognition. Oh, you didn't know that they had
on
that they had access to all your communications? Yeah. What was the other thing? The dang it, I just forgot it just that quick. Facial recognition. The guy who was talking about the protesters, the kids that are protesting on the college campuses right now, he talked about this 2 months ago. He said you can wear those little face masks all you want, but there's facial recognition software. It still can knows the pattern of your face. Your facial patterns are there, and they have the software to put your little mask face on there, scan you. All right, when you go for these jobs and they see you performing all of this quote unquote terrorist activity, and they're not going to hire you. Oh, the voice algorithm. Yeah, they're not going to hire you. You're going to be out of a job. As a matter of fact, they're not even hiring college kids right now because of what they, not because of the protests, but because of what they've been teaching them the past 4 years. There's like they hire these college kids, these interns, and they cannot stay out of human resources complaining about somebody hurt their feelings. They stared at me too long. They said hi to me, and it triggered me. I'm so troubled.
Well, you know what was funny?
Yeah.
You know what's funny, Bay? It was a thing I saw a couple of weeks ago, and they pulled a bunch of human resource personnel through a bunch of Fortune 500 companies. And the biggest complaint is with Gen Z. Here's some of the complaints. They don't have eye contact. They can't properly communicate face to face. Some of them brought their parents with them to the interview. No, I'm sick. This is Gen Z. This is the generation.
Step Brothers.
This is the generation that grew up with a phone in their hand. Like very low self-esteem, not confident during their interview. Their body language is very soft. These are a lot of the complaints that human resource people are encountering when they interview these new people for jobs.
That's pathetic. It's just like it's just like who was it? The people at Google that had to sit in. They did the protest in the middle of Google offices, and after their little goofy little protest was over. And keep in mind, they were actually protesting the company. And as soon as they went to their
paying you a good amount of money, this ain't McDonald's. This is something that moves you up in class. 6-figure income jobs. Yeah.
Soon as they went back to their offices, security came and dragged them right out. You're fired. You're fired. Pack up your stuff. You're fired.
You're a security risk now.
Yeah.
You're protesting me? How do I know you won't sabotage the company?
How dare you bite the hand that's feeding you? How dare you? Like Jibba Jazz said, a friend got fired last week because he wouldn't address a transformer by its pronoun. You know what? He can sue them for discrimination. He can sue that company for discrimination. Like your discrimination. Like it. Matter of fact, what is it called? It's called not sexual discrimination, but something along. What do they call that? What do they call that? Sexism. He can fire them for sexism. You can fire them for sexism. Be like, hey, I was fired because they said this, that, and the other, but that's not true. Like, well, you didn't call them by their pronoun. Like, yes, I did. Like, that's a man. I was talking to a man. I addressed them as a man.
But you know what is funny? And I'm going to wonder if someone take this to Supreme Court where we covered the draft. And the draft, it doesn't matter what your pronoun is. If you were born with a penis and a set of testicles, you are a biological male.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. Yes, please do. Because what it is actually is discrimination. Yeah. My bad. They can fire for discrimination.
A jibber jabber. You said that's your friend? Is he religious? Because that could go against his religious faith too, and they cannot discriminate upon that.
Exactly. If he be like, I'm Christian or Catholic or whatnot, like my religion doesn't play that game. Like, so not only do you have me on religious discrimination, but you also have me on God damn it, on just basically discrimination as it is. I mean, he can throw up anything, and if they take it to court,
like if the government uses what your biological gender is, if you were born, like I said, if you were born with a set of meat and potatoes, and the government identify you as a man, a male, in order to get drafted and die in a foreign war, and that's the highest you could go, then a company can't fire you for that if you ain't calling somebody by their pronoun.
Right. Like, hold
now,
on.
if
like
you're saying you little sissy bastard or something like that, that is defamatory or something. But if you're saying sir, ma'am, or whatever, you know what this is? This is 1984 all over again with, if you haven't read the book, read it. 1984 with all that double speak and all that crap.
Yeah.
And
XX chromosome equals woman. XY equals male. Man, so if they have, like, yo, prove to me that this is, you know, a such and such. You know, biologically, this is a male, or biologically, this is a female. So that's what I was addressing them as. Well, they prefer to be called this. I prefer to be called BD King. They didn't address me as that.
Yeah, I'm
that's BBC. My pronoun, BD King. Yeah, address me as Big BBC. I'm BBC. I wasn't addressed as such. I mean, it's so ridiculous. It's pathetic. But anyway, let's get back to this.
You want me to play the rest of it?
Well, you've watched this, right?
No, I haven't.
All right. All right, go ahead.
They lie about
Hunter
Biden. They lie about everything. And we're going to expect the FBI is going to tell us the truth on this one? Oh, this is the time the FBI comes clean and starts telling the truth. Do I really want to go to Washington? What a mess we're in. I'm going to run through 10 minutes. I've got another hour of stuff here.
Oh, no, we're not going to do all that.
No.
We're going to go through this fairly quickly. Number 14, this is a CNN video
all right,
report.
stop,
it's 4.5 minutes long.
Stop them. All right, let's move on because it's already hour 30. It's already hour 30. I want to get to some other points. This one right here, because this is...
So you don't want to do an 8-hour stream?
No. No. I want to try to keep these down to 2 hours, 2.5 at max. All right, so for a second weekend, white supremacists gather in downtown Nashville. There they go. A group of about 20 men wore shirts that said whites against replacement and handed out white supremacist flyers with anti-DEI framing. For the second weekend in a row, a white supremacist group carrying Nazi flags took to the streets of downtown Nashville. The group, called the Goyim Defense League, is described by the Anti-Defamation League as a loose network of anti-Semites and white supremacists who are best known for their anti-Semitic stunts and schemes to troll or otherwise harass Jewish people. Yeah, you go ahead and take these people lightly if you want to. Standing at the corner of Lower Broadway and 3rd Avenue, the group of about 20 men wore shirts that said whites against replacement and handed out flyers that say diversity means fewer white people, inclusion means exclusion of white people, equity means stealing from white people. They chanted Sieg Heil and did the Nazi salute. Okay. It's kind of hoping that they really didn't say it on camera. I've already said it, which is enough. 2 men were arrested after a related altercation Sunday night. One was Ryan Scott McCann of Ontario, Canada, who was charged with felony aggravated assault for beating a local bartender with a Nazi flag. According to MNPD, McCann is part of the neo-Nazi group and was seen hitting bartender Diego Buck in the face and ribs with the flagpole. Buck was also arrested on misdemeanor charges, which means they were both fighting. It was mutual combat. Chief John Drake condemned the hate being spread by the group. Last weekend, members of white supremacist group Patriot Front marched downtown carrying Confederate flags and also chanting. So you got 2 different white supremacist groups out here in the same area.
Well, they're in Nashville.
Right. Tennessee
That's God's country.
Tennessee Governor Bill Lee joined Democratic officials in condemning the demonstrations last week. I think we've seen anti-Semitism rise up all across this country. Unfortunately and sadly, the governor said Monday, we should stand against it at every time in every place. Earlier in February, a group carried flags with swastikas around the Capitol, but Sunday's demonstration shows a marked public uptick in activity from hate groups in Nashville. As of 2021, there were 28 active hate groups in Tennessee, according to the Southern Poverty Law Center. And the sad part about this is that there is an uptick. There's an uptake in this, and it's not going away. Actually, you and I have been talking over the phone.
Yep.
And I was saying how, like, hey, these folks are not, they're not invisible. They're now coming up out of the woodwork. They're starting to come up out of their slumber and make their presence known. And if Donald Trump, if he would have got killed,
unalived,
it would have been, oh my God. So the audience, do you remember when the trans dude shot and killed those 3 kids and those 3 adults at that Christian school?
It was in Tennessee.
Yeah, in Tennessee, because he wanted to get back at the pastor or whatnot. They had that emergency legislative meeting because they do understand these white supremacist groups. They're not just a bunch of hillbillies in pickup trucks and overalls with shotguns. A lot of them, they have political ties. Okay.
And in Tennessee, I think it's 1 or 2 state senators that are open white nationalists.
They were trying to calm them boys down. They were trying to keep them from coming out of the woodwork to handle the trans community for what happened to those kids. And then you had the 2 goofy black people with the white chick sitting up there talking about trans rights and Black Lives Matter. They kicked them people out of there. They drugged them out of there. Like, yo, this is not time for your silliness. We're trying to save you.
And here's the thing, is one thing, for the most part, people are going to tolerate, call me by my pronoun at work, at a workplace. People, they're tolerated for the most part because a lot of people just like us, them white people, they depend on their job to make a living. But when you target their babies, just like if you target our babies, the gloves are off. And this is where we have to be careful as a group, where we align ourselves openly. It's like we're free agents for every political or activist group. We're just open free agents, and nobody really does the same for us. So you got to be careful who you align yourself with, because when something like that happens, now you're the fucking target.
Yeah, matter of fact, just to show you just how serious this is, because I've spoken about this. How, as far as like terrorist activity, domestic terrorist activity, well, this is what happened last week. This story is from 2 days ago.
This is in my backyard.
But it happened last week. Let's play. Where's the sound? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. This is somebody else's video.
The Enemy's Public. Shout out to him.
Right.
Fair use. And go to his page and give him a like if you can. That's as much as we could owe him. Go to his page and give him a like on his page for the information.
Now I see what I said 2 days ago. I'm like, hold on, this doesn't look right.
Story in New Jersey. 18-year-old man accused of plotting to blow up PSE&G substations.
Federal agents say they took him into custody after he unknowingly revealed his.
And New Jersey, PSE&G is the state supplier of gas and electric. They're our energy provider in the state. So, just to let the chat know. Go ahead.
Plan to an undercover law enforcement officer. News 4's Pat Battle has the
G substations. Big story in New Jersey. 18-year-old man accused of plotting to blow up PSE&G substations.
Federal agents say they took him into custody after he unknowingly revealed his plan to an undercover law enforcement officer. News 4's Pat Battle has the disturbing details.
Federal authorities say this PSE&G electrical substation off Route 27 in New Brunswick was one of two that Andrew Takistov had allegedly targeted. Even visiting this site, the man he recruited to help destroy it. Only that man turned out to be an undercover agent.
He was in Scout with my kid.
Boy Scouts?
Boy Scout, yeah. And he was pretty good. He's an eagle.
He was well trained.
How do you wrap your head around this then?
I don't know. That's a big surprise, yeah.
What could have transpired to take 18-year-old Andrew Takistov from a one-time Eagle Scout to an...
Go back to the previous picture of him. Look at that picture.
He looks Russian or Eastern European.
Yeah, he looks
Eastern
Slavic.
European.
He looks Slavic, yeah. One of them Slavic nations.
To take 18-year-old Andrew Takistov from a one-time Eagle Scout to an alleged terrorist, incomprehensible to Minesh Christian. He lives across the street from the family in this quiet East Brunswick neighborhood. Takistov's father declined to talk to News 4 when we went to the house 2 days after federal agents descended on the home where the 18-year-old allegedly concocted a plan to blow up two PSE&G facilities and chatted online with an undercover law enforcement officer about his plans.
It looks more like, aspirational more than operational. But you have to go there. You have to check his home. You have to interview his friends. You have to see his online presence. These are going to be the things that to try to pick up communications and see again who put this idea in his head.
Federal authorities have been monitoring Takistov and his online activity for months. U.S. Attorney for New Jersey Philip Selinger saying in a statement that, quote, his post referenced Adolf Hitler, encouraged violence against Black and Jewish communities, praised mass shooters, and discussed causing death and destruction on a large scale.
It is chilling. And also the element here that struck me is that he wanted to attack critical infrastructure. And typically, what these recruits who are new to this type of an effort, they want to go shoot somebody. They want to plant a bomb, that type of thing. To attack critical infrastructure is usually more of a institutional perspective.
Takistov was arrested at Newark Liberty International Airport, reportedly on his way to Paris, then on to Ukraine, and eventually to Russia, where federal agents say he planned to hook up with a Nazi military group for more training.
Just think that, that's kind of a mindset is there. Just crazy.
At such a young age.
Such a very young age, yeah. I mean, I feel for his parents. Yeah.
A PSE&G spokesperson says, of course, the utility takes security and protection very seriously and that they were actively engaged with the FBI, adding that the majority of its electrical substations have redundancies built in the event that something like that happens, and that its staff is highly trained and prepared to address any potential impact. In New Brunswick, I'm Pat Battle, News 4 New York.
And New Brunswick is in central Jersey.
You know what? If he would have hooked up with the right people, it would have been a whole, just like with the attempted assassination. If he would have hooked up with the right people, this would have been up there in your area. It'd have been a whole different story.
Well, I gotta find my book, The Turner Diaries, because it seemed like everything is playing out right now. With it and them, y'all listening. The book is very cheap. Get The Turner Diaries. It's the white supremacist Bible. It's their wet dream that what they want to happen. It's their playbook. What's up, D. Scott?
Here it is right here. 31 bucks. 1869. They got one $250. $135.
Get The Turner Diaries, or go online and find it. It's free on PDF. Yeah.
Meanwhile, but okay, it doesn't take much to strategize. From what I'm seeing, if I'm to strategize what's coming next, we live in a society of monkey see, monkey do, especially when it comes to domestic terrorist groups.
And you gotta, and sorry to interrupt, and you gotta take into account a lot of terror plots that's domestic or foreign here on the soil. The government doesn't even mention a lot of times.
We are, and I said that when it gets hot, come this summer, expect things to heat up, expect all sorts of violence to take place. And sure enough, when it got hot, you have South Americans graping and often murdering the little teenage girls that they drag off into the woods. Now you have white supremacists looking to attack infrastructure, because trust me, they've seen this. Other ones are like, oh, he was unsuccessful. Well, let us try this. Let us show him how it's done. Just for shits and giggles. Excuse my French. Try not to curse here. But this is how they operate. This was just last week. The original story, the original situation was just last week.
And here is the thing, you got to take into account too. For the most part, when they plan, they're very strategic in what they do. Unfortunately, they be very sloppy because a lot of those chat rooms and everything be infiltrated with the alphabet agency like the FBI or local law enforcement. They be monitoring those sites. Back in the day, I used to always hang around on Stormfront, seeing what they say, and I used to listen to a lot of white supremacist state channels here on YouTube before they did the crackdown on everybody. And that was one of my pastimes, because I want to know what the enemy is talking about. And can you imagine? And if y'all watching us, I'm not giving out no playbook or nothing. This is just educational. it's hot as hell right now, and we all know in the hood when it get hot, a lot of fuckery happens. And now where the laws, they're not prosecuting people for stealing under $1,000. You have all this retail crime going on, and God forbid, I don't even like talking this into the ether. I pray to God that no person of color get their ass whooped or seriously injured or unalive by a fucking cop. Because we all know what happens when something like that happens. And can you imagine all hell break loose because you got the organized retail crime that's just running amok? Imagine if they out here looting. Imagine if somebody would have took the opportunity when George Floyd riots were happening and took down the grid. Because you had chaos everywhere. Because you had the fire departments and the police trying to quell the rioters from destroying shit.
Which didn't work.
I got my own theories on that. It was allowed to happen. But imagine you have all your police just standing there watching people just loot and burn shit down, and you got somebody tippy-toeing, going over by a power station and blow the motherfucker up.
I mean,
that's how vulnerable our infrastructure is. To be honest, that's how vulnerable. Because where I live at, you got substations throughout the city. You got many substations in every area. So imagine if something was coordinated and attacked. I'm not part of no. Whoever's listening, I'm not part of no group or nothing. I'm just using my military mind. I did 10 years in the Marine Corps, so I'm just using my military mind, and I see how things play out. So, yeah, escape from New York scenario.
Yeah, just strategy. It's simple military strategy. Simple military strategy. Even if you can't get to the grids, you can get to the wires. You can get I mean, it's. I'm going to 10-foot pole that.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, what we were missing out on was there are 2 war stories that were going on. Keeping in touch with the war. U.S. Coast Guard patrol spots Chinese naval ships off Alaska Island. Officials say a U.S. Coast Guard cutter on routine patrol in the Bering Sea came across several Chinese military ships in international waters, but within the U.S. exclusive economic zone. This was on July 11th. What's today?
That's our border. That's our border to our sovereign land.
Yeah, this is the 16th. Let's play the video. Oh, wrong video. I thought they were going to play that. We already seen that. Anchorage, Alaska. A U.S. Coast Guard cutter on routine patrol in the Bering Sea came across several Chinese military ships in international waters, but within the U.S. exclusive economic zone, officials said. The crew detected 3 vessels approximately 124 miles, 200 kilometers, north of the Amchitka Pass in the Aleutian Islands, the Coast Guard said in a statement Wednesday. I know I have trouble with these names and whatnot. A short time later, a helicopter aircrew from Coast Guard Air Station Kodiak spotted a 4th ship approximately 84 miles, 135 kilometers, north of the Amchitka Pass. All 4 of the People's Republic of China vessels were transiting in international waters, but still inside the U.S. exclusive economic zone, which extends 200 nautical miles from the U.S. shoreline. The statement said the Chinese vessels told the Coast Guard their purpose for being there was freedom of navigation operations.
Yeah, basically, if you could have carrier groups travel through the China Sea by Taiwan, we're going to come up by you. Tick for tack. Just like Russia did when they were coming through the Caribbean and went to Cuba, and they were down by the Gulf of Mexico and all that stuff.
Off the coast of California.
You coming out backyard, we're going to come in yours.
Yeah, I mean, In all honesty, the U.S. is surrounded outside of Canada. You've
Got
got
Mexico at the bottom.
Yeah. You've already let them in from Mexico. You've already let what would be domestic terrorists in from Mexico. I mean, the guy who almost tried to blow up was plotting to blow up the station, he's Eastern European.
Do you remember the show 24?
I remember it. I think I only watched maybe 1 or 2 episodes.
Where you had the Middle Eastern family. They had nice, good jobs, but they were undercover terrorist cells.
Sleeper cells?
And yeah, they were sleeper cells. And I remember, oh God, this is when I used to listen hardcore to the Prophecy Club and the 700 Club. And they had this, because they used to always bring, other than religious people, they used to bring former government people and stuff. Like, imagine it's just a conspiracy show within a church. And they had a government person talking about how there's a lot of Russians that been in this country since the 80s. And they were with the KGB, and they were trained. They totally lost their Russian accent. They got an American accent. They're here, and most of them are truck drivers because strategically, give me 1 second. I thought I was about to sneeze.
Okay.
Excuse me.
There it is.
And the reason why they go for truck driving, because if you want to invade someone, you have someone learn the roads and you map them out. And what's the best way? You be in a truck because you're high on the road and you can map out the terrain and everything. But now allow them, supposedly, because I don't know, it's just what I hear, allow them work in key infrastructural fields, military, truck driving, logistics, things like that. And they're undercover and they're just waiting for the bat signal to go in. And these are Spetsnaz people, KGB and Spetsnaz. And they got children here too. And they're probably your friend, probably was your friend. And the Boy Scouts playing basketball, but undercover, they're waiting for the signal.
Sitting in class, going to their deli, their little corner store every day.
Like who was the first president? Little Vladimir, George Washington. Correct.
Chinese. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The Chinese naval presence operated in accordance with international rules and norms, said Rear Admiral Megan Dean, 17th Coast Guard District Commander. We met presence with presence to ensure there were no disruptions to U.S. interests in the maritime environment around Alaska. U.S. Coast Guard cutter Kimball is a 414-foot ship based in Honolulu. The Coast Guard says that there's no requirement for foreign nations to proactively, it's a little choppy if you can see this writing, to proactively contact the country before entering their exclusive economic zone, and in this case said the Chinese vessels responded when the Coast Guard reached out on radio. The Coast Guard did not respond to questions about how long the Chinese ships were in the exclusive economic zone, but said the Kimball and an air crew monitored them until they transited south of the Aleutian Islands in the North Pacific Ocean. The sighting of the ships came a week after the Chinese Navy began its annual joint patrol with the Russian Navy in the Pacific Ocean. The U.S. Naval Institute reported July 5th. It said the patrol is scaled down from previous years, including last August when more than 10 ships from China and Russia formed a flotilla off Alaska. So they said in September of 22, the Kimball spotted several ships from China and Russia in the Bering Sea. And in September of 21, Coast Guard cutters in the Bering Sea and North Pacific Ocean encountered Chinese ships about 50 miles off the Aleutian Islands. The Coast Guard said there was a similar incident in 23 that the Navy responded to. Our military needs to be ready for increasing Chinese and joint Chinese and Russian military activity near Alaska's coast, U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan, an Alaskan Republican, said in a statement after being briefed on the Chinese presence. I also met yesterday morning with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and specifically raised the issue, how America must be much more prepared for the increasing activity in the Arctic, and to also let Alaskans know that our military is on the job protecting our state and our country, Sullivan said. The U.S. military routinely conducts what it calls freedom of navigation operations in disputed waters in Asia that China claims as its own, deploying Navy ships to sail through waterways such as the South China Sea. The U.S. says freedom of navigation in the waters is in America's national interest. Aaron Davenport, a retired senior Coast Guard officer who's now with RAND, said when the Chinese vessels describe what they're doing as freedom of navigation operations, it's essentially China flexing its muscles by showing up in a part of the world that the U.S. considers part of its sphere of influence.
The Monroe Doctrine.
Yeah. He said it's similar to how the U.S. has deployed Coast Guard or other ships to the Taiwan Strait to uphold freedom of navigation and support American allies in the region, with the important distinction that the Aleutian Islands are clearly part of the U.S. The Taiwan Strait separates the island democracy of Taiwan from China, which claims Taiwan as its own territory. This is what happened while Trump was being shot at, what they didn't want us to know. And of course, as you see here, U.S. Naval Institute, joint Chinese-Russian naval drills start in South China Sea.
Put D. Scott's comment up.
Let me see. Let's see. What's going on, D. Scott? You say many are truck drivers. I told them, and they can't speak a lick of English delivering for Amazon. Had a very interesting convo with one last week. You can't tell where they're from till they speak. Some look Mexican. Said, well, 2 weeks ago, been in the hospital for a minute. Well, you know,
I hope you recovered.
Yeah, hopefully wish you a speedy recovery. Before we move on to the silliness, I want to talk about what I think, because I want to get into this, and I think I will get into this now. This is my prediction concerning these white supremacist groups and whatnot. I feel that there's an over-under that maybe something will happen close to the election, maybe some lone wolf, quote unquote school shooter might do something crazy, maybe at the DNC, or maybe if somebody starts to protest, some type of democratic protest. I mean, right now you got Democrats protesting at the RNC, which is very stupid after what just happened to Trump. You need to be nowhere near.
Killed, I think it was today or yesterday, someone with a knife in Milwaukee.
Yeah, they shot and killed a guy with a knife. I don't know if it was related, but it's just a simple fact that if you're a Democrat, you need to stay very far away from the DNC. Stay away from Republican conventions and whatnot, calling yourself protesting. Yes, you have freedom of speech, but exercise your common sense. And the problem is that a lot of people who show up to those type of events, just like we saw when Trump first ran, you had idiots showing up trying to protest. That's like showing up as an ant covered in honey, trying to protest in a beehive. You're an idiot. Don't do it. You will get manhandled. You will get beat down, and you saw that happening the first time Trump ran. All those MAGA hats and whatnot, they was whooping people's tails, coming up in there talking mess.
You smell MAGA? Wait. Oh.
Yeah, they was getting worked. They was getting that work. And right
remember
now,
Charlottesville. Wait, remember Charlottesville?
Yeah.
That was after Trump won. And what I think might happen, because you got, and I like your term. I'm gonna go and trademark it. Smooth brains. we all know Trump is going to win. It's his basically to lose, unless they got him on a video they're going to release with him with some little boy or something. He's going to win, and I can see something either happening during the inauguration when he get inaugurated. You're going to have all these radical idiots, and if you don't know, half of them are government sponsored just to rile up for propaganda. Or you might see something like after he's in office where you're going to see like Charlottesville 2.0 happen.
I think it might be a little stronger than that, because right now you have apparently the great replacement theory. I mean, people were laughing at that, but come to find out that's actually true. We see that the great replacement theory is actually true. Of course, as like those of us who are in the conscious circles, we talked about how even Elijah Muhammad said that the last trick they'll pull is throwing white women into the arms of black men. And I mean, OnlyFans is filled with interracial race play with white men. I mean, white men and black women, but more white women with black men. I mean, you got Clemmy Kane or whatever, the chick down in Miami that killed her African sex toy. All right.
And you got to look at it why. Like, and when we talk about the great replacement, let's break it down. Let's be for real. White people as a whole here in America, white people, we're at a negative birth rate in this country. And even as much ABs as our women get, we're still maintaining that 12.8% population. But what you're seeing is an influx of others coming in. And you got to think about it. You need people here to put into the Social Security system and into the workforce also. And that's why you see a lot of these illegals coming over here. And who was it that said it? Oh, God. I think Khalid Muhammad said this. When a population goes down and when the economy gets very harsh, that's when you see an uptick in violence from white people, that they lash out against the population. And what's going on with the economy and everything right now? And let's be for real with white people. You don't fuck with their God. You don't fuck with their guns. And you don't fuck with their kids. You've been having these mass shootings. You've been having the programming with the rainbow with their children, and they're not having it.
About the money.
Oh yeah, and they money, they lifestyle.
So here's my point in bringing all of that to everyone's attention here tonight is that, like I said, you're going to see maybe an uptick in like little solo mass shooters or whatnot, these little school shooters. You're going to see an uptick in that around the election time, probably really between now and November 2nd. But after January 1st, after he's sworn in, that's when you're really going. This is my prediction. After he's sworn in, that's when the violence,
they're going to show their ass.
The domestic terrorism is going to just go through the roof. It's going to go through the roof Because understand, they're sitting back. They know right now that they can't do anything because Biden is in office. He'll throw the book at them, even though, you know, little fella Antonio can steal your car, grape your daughter in the back seat of it, and kill your grandma, and the charges will be dropped, or they'll just be charged with trespassing. I mean, it's that bad as far as criminal conduct. That's why I laugh when people sit up here and talk about white supremacy and they scared of the police. They gonna go to jail. Like, dude, they're not trying to do none of that. They're giving you a free pass to do whatever you want to do right now. If you really watch these body cam videos, you see, I mean, there are videos out here where back before Biden was in office, you'd be like, man, like they talking, they might get jumped. Like, why is the cop letting them talk to them crazy like that, when any other time, from those of us who've grown up watching this stuff, like that cop would have beat the crap out of them. They'd have caught that nightstick. They would have been shot. They would have been maced, handcuffed, and stomped out. But instead, they're talking to them like the spoiled little children that they are. And trust me, it's so headache-inducing to me because I expect better behavior out of black people. But once Trump is in office, and as much as people sitting up here worried about Project 2025, look, whether it's going to happen or not, these little white supremacist groups or people who just sick and tired of the crime and the violence or whatnot, they are going to show their tails. You are in great danger. That's the way I'm looking at it. It's almost like they want you as a black criminal to go ahead and get your party on. Do what you're gonna do. Because the second we get Trump in office, it's gonna be a different story. Dad, quote unquote, daddy's home. Daddy is gonna be home, and you're not gonna like the outcome. You think you crying about the fake racism that's going on now? You ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing yet.
I totally agree, Jibba Jabba.
Here it is. This is what I was looking for. Oh crap! I was looking for this video. I couldn't. They won't play it. Let me say here. Let me put your cash up. Liberal DAs will be voted out. Yeah, no more getting away with crime. No more getting away with crime. It's a setup. It comes off as one big setup. I hate to tell y'all that, but that's the way it looks to me. It looks like one big setup. And now the bill is come due. The bill is coming due. I see why black people are scared. You know, not so much for, I mean, I wonder why are black people scared of Project 2025? If you're a law-abiding citizen, you really don't have any problems. You shouldn't be concerned. What are you afraid of? What, your little fella Antonio's son is going to go to jail? Well, maybe you should control him. Is that your issue? Do you really think they're going to just throw us back in slavery? I mean, I'm just speaking in general about this. I'm not liking what I'm seeing as far as coming from the other group. But the whole problem is that, in all honesty, we, quote unquote, are bringing it upon ourselves. We ignore black crime. We ignore black criminality and just.
You are smart enough, you would know who I am. But you are really not smart enough to know who I am. But soon you're gonna know who I am. Very easy.
Wow, very easy. The entitlement.
No, believe me, I'm much better than that.
You got people like that that are now in the country. They're now in the country. They're going to be a target. You're going to be a target. Other groups are going to be a target. It's going to be mad scale chaos. It's going to be mad scale chaos. The first thing they're going to...
You got the people that hate the others, which is like the Muslims and the people that are neighbors with the Muslims over there. Then you got the alternative lifestyles that's out here that was making a lot of fucking noise for the past 4 years.
The pedo crowd?
No, the rainbow.
The pedo crowd.
I call them Care Bears.
Okay.
Care Bears.
The Care Bears.
And we was having this conversation, like, not for nothing, for the most part, nobody gives a fuck what you do in your bedroom. Really, I mean, there's no bedroom policing. This ain't the 50s where they looking like, are you a sodomite? I mean, for Christ's sakes, like, they got their own little pockets. I mean, like, you go to New York City, you got Greenwich Village, where they got their own stores and bars where they all hang out. Nobody cares what you do for the most part. And even the most conservative, they were for gay marriage, unless you was a highly religious person and your thing is that marriage is an institution created by God. But most people, like, I don't care what the fuck you do in your bedroom, as long as it don't involve children. But when you impose it now on people, now people got a problem.
Do you want to know how bad it is? Let me show you. Let me show y'all this. This was, of course, 10 months ago.
To make child sex trafficking a serious felony in California was put on what's called the suspense file today. This is a typical procedural move by the Assembly Appropriations Committee, and it's done for any bill that's expected to cost the state more than $150,000. As we've been reporting, this bill aims to prevent repeat child sex traffickers from getting out of prison early. It passed unanimously out of the state Senate, but has had a bumpy road in the Assembly so far.
There are people protesting this law. And you know who's protesting this law? Just take a wild guess.
Probably our side or the libtards.
Women.
White women.
Libtards. White and black, but majority white. Let me see. Hold on. They're trying to lessen the charges. Here it is. Here we go. Well,
let's stay in the United States. You'd think legislation to increase penalties for people soliciting minors for prostitution would be a no-brainer. I mean, no one would agree that behavior should go on. If someone tries to do that, jail them for the longest time. At the moment in California, if you solicit a minor for prostitution, it's 2 days jail, 1 year maximum, and a $10,000 fine. So the Republicans want to increase the penalties to 4 years jail and a $25,000 fine. And yet, that is being opposed by LGBTQ activists who claim that upping the severity of fines for those who solicit minors for prostitution would disproportionately affect the LGBTQ community. Have a listen to this.
We are particularly concerned that the harsher penalties proposed in this bill will disproportionately impact marginalized communities, especially members of the LGBTQ community, who already suffer from systematic biases within the criminal justice system, particularly when it comes to sexually based offenses. Studies have shown that LGBTQ people, particularly gay and transgendered individuals, are more likely to be charged with sex offenses compared to their heterosexual counterparts. For instance, LGBTQ individuals are 9 times more likely to be charged with sodomy. Measures like SB 1414 lead to higher rates of incarceration, longer sentences, and increased difficulties in finding housing and employment.
Liz, I listened to that and I simply could not believe what I was
Unbelievable.
hearing. I mean, how does anyone make sense of an argument like that?
I'm sure the LGBTIQ community are saying, please stop talking on our behalf. That is the opposite of standing up for them. I mean, they're literally pointing the finger at this community saying, if you are going to punish people for having sex with minors, then you're disproportionately punishing people belonging to the LGBTIQ community. If that doesn't make you just absolutely incredulous, and yet here's the senator who tried to bring this bill. There were amendments passed. Her name is Senator Grove. She was trying to include 16 and 17-year-olds in this bill because, of course, obviously, officially, they too are minors. Well, it was a real bun fight to try and get this across the line, and she wasn't quite successful. Here she is explaining.
Who would have thought in the state of California it'd be this hard or this difficult to protect
Can you
minors
pause that for a minute?
below from men that
I just went on to Donald Trump's Agenda 47. Donald Trump, he want to pledge the death penalty for human traffickers. This is on his Agenda 47.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Do you have a problem with that?
Not at all. And
Okay.
women, and it was something else. See, in the drug addiction. His day one executive order ending citizenship of children of illegals and outlawing birth and tourism.
Right. No more anchor babies.
Yeah.
who would have thought in the state of California it'd be this hard or this difficult to protect minors 17 and below from men that purchase them for sex? Take a look at this. Today in the Public Safety Committee, they allowed us to charge a wobbler instead of a full felony for those that are 15 and below. It can be charged as a felony or a misdemeanor, but it also excluded 16 and 17-year-olds from those provisions. The 16 and 17-year-olds now have to prove two crimes. They were bought and sold, trafficked into the industry, and that's the only way you can go after the perpetrator who initiated this whole process by negotiating to buy them for sex in the first place. It shouldn't be that difficult.
You know what?
That's it. People that buy children for sex in the state of California should go to prison.
You were saying something?
Oh, yeah, and he wants to fire all the Marxist prosecutors in the country. I'm putting this Agenda 47 in the chat, so if anybody there, take a look at it.
It is just...
Can't really add to that. It should be that straightforward. The prosecutors in California have already come out saying, well, given those are the preconditions of actually prosecuting or having a chance of prosecuting someone who's soliciting sex from the 16, 17-year-olds, it's going to be almost impossible to prosecute. You've just created too many loops for us to jump through in order to bring a case against any of the people who are committing that crime. It just beggars belief.
It is just
even a controversial bill.
It is just staggering, and just a bit of PR advice to the Californian LGBTQIA+ community, saying that banning people from paying for underage sex is going to disproportionately affect your community does not help your cause. That does not. That's not a good line. That's not a good hill to die on. That's not a good. I would just keep that out of the media release.
And then they started reeling off the stats to prove
I
it.
know, but
It got worse.
it just does my head in the left. Does this?
Said that the Disney lobby influenced this. No, they did not. But
this has been something that has been done incrementally, and I have to look through my archives of my email, and BGS has sent this, and it was a professor from California talking about the true motives of the gay rights movement is to legalize pedophilia.
Yeah,
to make it legal.
Yeah. There was a tape that we used to rent / sell it, called The Gay Agenda. It was produced in the 80s, and that is exactly what the whole thing is. They want to be able to have sex with children. That's their whole agenda. That's why they're dragging kids to drag. I mean, okay, we're getting off topic here, but I will say this. Now, as much as we close the show out with the same thing, all right, get your water, get your food, get your toilet tissue, get your home protection, because I really feel that 2025 I think it's going to be a shit show. It's going to reshape this whole country in a way that people are not ready for. You're just not ready for it. I know you think you want to fight, you can win a fist fight, like they're going to come with fist fights. I guess you think you're bulletproof, you've never been shot at. Anyway, all right, so let's take a break. Let's get some sports going. We got our sportscaster, Snowman, ready to give us the skinny. Snowman, take it away.
Angel Reese's historic double-double streak ends, although her teammates and her fans wanted it to continue in a loss. Let's go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Villainous Sports News. Brian Snow here with you, and I salute you for tuning in. If you haven't had a chance to do so already, please make a contribution to the Snow Strong Foundation via Cash App. The sign you need is at the bottom of your screen. $ Tallman Dr. K50, and on the right side of your screen, you can see all the YouTube channels that we have in motion and you can subscribe to. Let's get busy and talk some basketball, and the struggles of one Bronny James continues. I don't think they've ever stopped when he was at USC. Now, many have asked, how bad is he struggling? Well, in a recent game against the Boston Celtics, he finished 1 for 5 from the floor in 23 minutes. 23 minutes. And I don't think it's going to get any easy for a second-round pick who has had his contract fully guaranteed. Let me say that again. His contract has been fully guaranteed. His rookie contract has been fully guaranteed. Let's take a look at what he did in his recent game against the Boston Celtics, where they lost 88-74. I incorrectly said 23 minutes. He played 25. He had 2 points, 3 rebounds, an assist. No steals, no blocks. He had 2 turnovers, committed 3 personal fouls. He was 1 of 5 from the field and 0 for 3 from the floor. And yet there are still many that think he deserves a spot on the Lakers team. What he deserves is a spot behind somebody that actually wants to play the game, learn the game, and grow the game. And right now, Bronny ain't it. Let's jump over to sports talk, shall we? And Skip Bayless has departed Fox Sports. And the main reason that Skip Bayless and his controversial takes, and yes, there are many, and yes, they were controversial, is gone. 2 reasons. A, Shannon Sharpe has moved on, and in fact has inked his future by signing a multi-year deal with ESPN to stay opposite of Stephen A. Smith. And the second has been the numbers. Since Shannon Sharpe has left, the numbers for Fox Sports is undisputed have dipped. In one situation, they only drew 50,000 viewers, and they were outdrawn by sports programming that was across the border in Dubai and a couple of other places. It's hard to say right now whether they are going to replace Skip Bayless and whether they are going to redo the show or continue the show. But as it stands right now, Skip Bayless is departing Fox Sports. To baseball we go, and there is a little bit of history as the All-Star game set to take place tonight in Texas, Arlington, Texas, that is, the home of the world champion Rangers. And for the 6th time in All-Star game history, a rookie shall take the hill. Paul Skeens, the rookie fireballer from LSU, will take the hill representing the Pittsburgh Pirates. This phenomenon started in 1959 when Jerry Walker represented the Baltimore Orioles as the first rookie in 13 career starts. The second one to do it, that came in 1962 with Dave Stenhouse with as little as 11 starts, which is the number that Skeens has right now, 11 starts, the fewest starts ever for a rookie to participate in the All-Star game. The third person to do it was the Bird, Mark Fidrich. He did it for the Detroit Tigers in 1976. And then from then until 1995, it wasn't done until from 1976 to 1981, when Fernando Mania shook up the baseball world, when Fernando Valenzuela, in just 14 starts, took the mound for the National League as a rookie in the All-Star game. And then in 1995, the Tornado and another Dodger, Hideo Nomo, took the mound in Colorado to start the All-Star game. So congratulations to Paul Skeens, and congratulations to the National League and to manager Torey Lavillo, who revealed the news to Paul Skeens while Paul was on the air with the great Dan Patrick. It was a planned interruption, but it was also a very, very pleasant surprise and a wonderful surprise for this phenom fireballer. How long will he last in the majors? I hope it's a very, very long time. If you haven't had a chance to see Paul Skeens pitch, I would suggest that you do. He possesses a fastball, a curveball, a slider, and a forkball, and can move it all the way around and locate it very, very well. Matter of fact, on 2 occasions this year, he took a no-hitter into the 7th inning, including his last start. Angel Reese's historic double-double streak has come to an end at 15 at the hands of the New York Liberty, as the Liberty harassed, double-teamed, and sent a posse after her every time she touched the ball in an 81-67 loss in the Windy City. Now, Chicago had the ball. I just caught a note here that I'll get to in a moment. Chicago had the ball in the final seconds, and the fans started getting a little antsy because they wanted Angel Reese to keep her double-double streak alive. Well, what's more important, the streak or winning? According to Angel Reese, she said, quote, "Winning is the only thing for me," close quote. Good thing that she's taking that high road, because there have been many instances earlier this season where she did not take the high road. Again, she wound up with a game-high 16 rebounds, which gives her the most in WNBA history in the shortest amount of time, deleting players like Tina Thompson and others, eclipsing that record. Again, 81-67 is the final, and the race for Rookie of the Year, the gap has widened for one Caitlin Clark, who picked up a big victory over the New York Liberty recently. 83-78 was the final of that, and Caitlin Clark became the first rookie in WNBA history to notch a triple-double for her efforts. On a recent note, the San Francisco 49ers, Brandon Ayuk, their star wide receiver, has informed the Niners that he officially wants a trade. Now, just because he has requested a trade doesn't mean a trade is going to happen. I still think that the Niners are going to keep him and they're going to work out a deal, and the 5th-year option has already been activated. So at least for this year, Brandon Ayuk will stay in San Francisco. And as a matter of fact, 49ers have told teams no that are interested in trading Brandon Ayuk, which gives this snowman the clue they're finding the money needed to keep him. He is a big part of this offense. The Niners are rich at wide receivers, so in case one day they do have to move on from Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, they will have a lot of hands in place. But as of right now, Brandon Ayuk has requested a trade, and the 49ers have told a lot of teams no, they're not interested in trading him. And finally, a very, very somber note, as We lost Kobe Bryant 4 years ago in a helicopter crash, and now we have lost his father. Joe Jellybean Bryant dies at the age of 69. Despite all the drama that has gone on with Jellybean Bryant, with Kobe and everybody, it's just tough to see a father go who watched his son go. And Jellybean, I never got a chance to see you play, but I've heard a lot about your efforts, and they all came through in your son Kobe. May you rest in peace, power, and paradise, my friend. That'll do it for this edition of the Villainous Sports News. Thanks for tuning in. So long, everybody.
Hey, everybody, if you get a chance, go to Snowman Media and subscribe to him and give him a like. He's our sports anchor, so he be giving us a lot of condensed, up-to-date, current sports news. Support the brother.
Yes, he is our sports anchor. He's our
This
sports
Villainous
anchor.
News.
He does a good job.
We're trying to have here is a network with the whole space, and we're trying this way we could support each other, and like how you watch your sports show, your news show, that's what we have.
Do you have his Telegram? Who's the Telegram?
Remember Afro Synergy News?
No,
You ever watch them on YouTube?
never heard of him.
Oh, I'll send you the link to him.
Okay.
Jibba Jabba sent me his Telegram link. I just joined it on Telegram.
Oh, okay. That'll work. All right. So, any parting words?
Be good to others, but first and foremost, be good to yourself. Be aware of your surroundings. Try to the best you can to limit your exposure to any fuckery or bullshit. Rack up, get your power tools, get your supplies like Bay said. If you got money to buy Jordans, or like me, I'm an avid gamer. I got my little hobbies, but right now it's time to divert those funds to things that are going to be very useful to our survival. And I know times is hard, but please support your interests. A whole lot of ones are better than a whole lot of nones. Yes, Snowman is good with the transition and editing. I spoke to him on the phone about that. His skills is very good. And if anybody out here that's in the chat, if you're looking to start up a channel, you might want to hit him up. He can make an intro for you. He's going through a lot of stuff, so you could we donate money to him so he could provide us content. This is how we got our little synergy here together, where funds is helping each other out. So if you're starting up your channel, hit up Snowman. He got a lot of good programs, and he's good with editing and transitioning. And if you want to make something for your channel, if you think about being a content creator, help the brother out, because his work is good and he could give you something for your channel to gain traction.
I agree. I mean, I've really said all I have to say. I hate that I'm repeating myself like a broken record, but I mean, you're
well,
adult.
Bay, in the words of the immortal David Carroll, repetition is the mother of skill.
Yeah, that was how they brainwash people into buying products through advertising. If they hear it 12 times, at minimum 12 times, especially within an hour or hour and a half span, it sticks in their head. That's why you see the same commercials over and over again. This is why the radio plays the same commercials over and over again. This is why you hear the same songs over and over again, because then when you walk into a Walmart or a Kroger or whatever little store you shop at, you know, oh, Tide, because the jingle is stuck in your head. So you pick up the product because of brand recognition. You see it as something nice. You try it. That's how they get you. But I don't think anybody, I can tell you 12 times in an hour, hey, look, you need to get your supplies ready. I mean, I think it's an eye-rolling situation, but you're grown. You do what you want to do. You do what you want to do. All right, but one thing.
Put my camera up from her. Wait.
Ultimate Survival System.
There's a little book on survival stuff. I gotta rearrange. So I got a lot of the survival stuff in my closet and in my basement. I'm probably gonna have to pull out. I'm probably gonna do something on that. We could do a thing. I gotta find all my material.
Speak of the devil.
Look, Snowman. Look, hey, I gave you a good plug. Hit the link up top if you want to come up, Snowman.
He said he's digging the Megan Thee Stallion Amazon Prime commercials. That doesn't mean that you can go and order Megan Thee Stallion off Amazon, or maybe you can. Let's take a look. No, but you know, I mean, it is what it is. It's better to be safe than sorry. And as I've said on my main channel, I would rather be wrong. I'd rather be proven wrong than let time prove me right. I may not be able to tell you the circumference of a court circle or anything like that, but I do read patterns very well. I read patterns very well. Strategy is not a hard thing for me. And you can see the patterns. You see where everything is going. So, you know, whatever. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get out of here, as I am starving. How about you?
Yeah, I gotta make a run to the gas station.
All right, you guys be safe. Take care. Buy you some mace. Get you some knuckles. All right, you can get the police baton sticks, the retractable sticks. They're like less than $20. Amazon, you can do some shopping on Amazon. I went out, bought some things for my trip and personal protection. Thanks, Jibber Jabber. Yeah, get
and first and foremost, educate yourself on the laws where you live at pertaining to those items before you just go out and buy them.
Yeah, because last time I talked to a cop, I had the knuckles in my pocket, and I said, "These are legal, right?" He waved me out. Midnight gas run. Yeah, he waved me off. He was like, "Yeah, they're fine." He didn't have a problem with them. But you know, I'm in Georgia where it's legal to delete squatters, because there's no such thing as squatters in Georgia anymore. Just like in Florida, you can delete them. They're considered burglaries and home invaders. All right, you guys.
Before we go, a lot of y'all on my channel, please go over to Villainous News. I'm gonna put, once this video is over, I'm gonna put the link to the channel, because I'm going to stop simulcasting. I want all of y'all, please subscribe to the channel, Villainous News. That's going to be that's the primary news network. We're using our channel for other things. And later on tonight, I know Snowman is a big fan of the Clubhouse Chronicles. I will be uploading something tonight as I'm cleaning up. I know your fellow sadomasochists that may be out there that love to torture yourself with the whole babble on Clubhouse. I will be putting up a brand new video of that tonight, because I'm on vacation this week, so I'll be able to provide you more content. But please subscribe to Embrace Villainy, Villainous News, subscribe to Snowman Multimedia, support the brother. He's very talented at what he does. And since he's here, I'm going to give him another shameless plug. If you're out here considering starting up a channel, hit the brother up. He's good with the graphics. He can make you a nice intro.
Yeah, you
start supporting your people. Start supporting your own people. We're doing group economics here, so we supporting all the fellow brothers here. If you can, go to Snowman. Give him a when he's on. He's mostly on 10 in the morning with his sports show. Get him a like. Put a comment in his chat to help him with the algorithm. And if you can monetarily, I know people, it's hard out here. Hit him with a super chat. So help the brother out.
Way.
And we're trying to get the subscribers up here to be monetized. So let's support each other. Sorry for the tangent, Bay.
Oh no, you're fine. All right, let's get out of here. My stomach's rumbling. All right, y'all. Y'all be safe out here. Peace.